Hola amigos, Dr. Labrinicki. Today we're going to take a look at the AP Spanish Language and Cultural exam. So I'm going to explain what it is, how much it costs, when people take it. So I've spent many years teaching students how to be successful on this test, and so I want to help you with that also. And so this is the first lesson in an 8-part series to help explain all of that. All right, so yeah, the first big question is how much does it cost? So the cost this year is $95. So oftentimes students say, well, I don't want to pay to take a test, but it actually turns out to be a pretty good deal. Sometimes when you get to the university, it might cost $400 per credit. And so if you think of it that way, that could be about a $1,200 value. And another way to think of it is sometimes when you go to college, it costs more than $100 to buy just the textbook. And so for less than the price of a textbook, you can earn 3 college credits. And so how long does it take? It takes about 4 hours to do this test because you're being evaluated on your speaking, listening, reading, writing, skills in Spanish, along with cultural elements being incorporated into that. So the test is in May, and there's generally a 2-week time period when the AP exams are given, and exams either start at 8 a.m. or at noon. And sometimes it comes down to a little bit of luck. Sometimes if you have a noon exam, you might have a tricky exam in the morning before that. One time in the past, some of my students had an AP Calculus exam for 4 hours, and they got a short break, and then they took a 4-hour Spanish exam. But hopefully you've been studying and working hard. Even that won't faze you. And so let's talk about what are the scores that you can get. The scores range from 0 to 5. So if you got a 0, that would be very bad. And if you got a 5, that would be awesome. But typically universities are looking for a score of 3. And with that, you can get 3 college credits. And it depends on the university. Some like you to get a better score. Some are okay with a 3. But generally a 2 or less, you would not get any college credit. And so in the description below, I'm going to put a link where you can type in which university you're thinking of going to, and then it will tell you what requirements they're looking for on the AP Spanish Language and Cultural exam. Also, I'm going to put a link for what is the schedule for this year for when the exam is going to be and what time it's going to be. So check out that below. Okay, up next we're going to take a look at what are the different parts of the exam. So it's important to be familiar with these. And then in upcoming videos, I'm going to break them down individually and give you tips and hints and maybe even some vocab that you could study to do well on these. But the first part's the multiple choice section, and sometimes it's abbreviated MCQ. And there's 2 parts to it. There's interpretive skills that are reading and listening, and it's called the interpretive communication. And so for this one, there's going to be 65 multiple choice questions. There's a part where you read, answer questions. There's a part where you listen and read and answer questions, and there's a part where you listen and answer multiple choice questions. And this part will take you about a little bit over an hour and a half for that part. Okay, then the second part is the free response section, and then with that, there's 4 little areas that they want to test you on. So interpersonal writing and speaking, and then in presentational writing and speaking. So with this, there's an email, there's a simulated conversation, there's a persuasive essay, and there's a cultural comparison speech. And so it's important that you're familiar with these different parts of the test and also are familiar with instructions that I'm going to break down in upcoming videos. Okay, so here's the multiple choice questions broken down a little bit further. There's 65 of them. This makes up 50% of your score, and you get 95 minutes to do it. And so my advice for the reading section is to look at the questions first, then do the reading, and then go back and answer the questions. That's going to give you the most efficient use of your time. And then my advice for the listening portion is to take notes while you're listening. That way you can go back and refer back to that after you've listened. And for the listening portion, you get 2 chances to listen. They'll play the recording twice for you. Okay, then let's break down the free response section a little bit more in depth. So the first part's the email reply, and you get 15 minutes to write this email reply. There's some tasks that you have to do, and then in an upcoming video, I'm going to explain each of these a little bit more in depth. So be sure to check these out. Then after that, we've got a persuasive essay on a cultural theme, and we're going to break this one down individually, give you some tips and hints and an outline that you can do. Same thing for the speaking conversation. There's an outline that it follows, and you get 2 minutes to respond back to this simulated conversation. And then the last element here is the cultural comparisons, and you get 2 minutes to speak for that. And I'm going to break this down a little bit more in depth as well. So that's the Section 2 free response section of the test. Okay, so I'm going to provide an 8-part series, and this is the first part where I just explain what is the exam. In Lesson 2, we're going to take a look at interpretive communication, the listening and the reading skills. And then in the next lessons, we're going to take a look at the free response. The free response is broken down a little bit more in depth. We've got the email reply, the persuasive essay, the conversation, the cultural comparison, and then after that I'm going to give you some vocab that's going to be important, and then also the last section is going to be exam tips. Okay, so hopefully this video helped explain what is the test. That way you know how to prepare a little bit better, and then check out the next videos to understand each unit individually. Alright, thanks for watching. Remember, subscribing to my channel gives you free video access to all of my channels, to check that out. And this has been Learning Spanish with Dr. L. And gracias por mirar. Adios. Buena suerte en el examen de AP. Ciao.